In this video, we're going over the absolute basics of coding. As usual, I need to emphasize that this is a video game and not real cybersecurity. Like I mentioned in the previous video, I set up a Discord server, link is in the description. Alright, let's do some coding. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a script that can print something to the terminal. Let's just open a terminal. And for example, if we run the command pwd, it prints what path we are currently in. And so by just running a script, we can have the script print something to the terminal. And this is what we want to do. What you will do to do this, you will use the print method, print. And if you type print, it's going to show you how to use it. You can also click this right here, which gives you examples and a description and more information about the method. So to use the method, we type print, and then we put parentheses behind it. Then inside we type the message we want to print out in the terminal. So it could, for example, be hello. But if we just type the text hello, this is not recognized by the game or the coding as a text message. So we need to tell the game that it's the text, and the script language understands that if we put quotation marks around the word, then it knows that it's a text. This is what is called a string. So this is how it knows that it's a text, and then print is that it should print it. So then we can either save the source code or we can build it. If you want to run it, we need to build the source code. We're going to build it, and we're just going to name it p for print. And then if we run the command p now, it's going to print hello just like we told it. Next up, we're going to learn how we can put these a lot of different information inside of boxes in the game. These boxes are called variables. So the way you make a box, or I call them boxes because I'm going to use this analogy when I explain how they work. So imagine that you have we're going to create it here. You just pick a name. So let's say A, for example. And then you put a equal to sign, and then you can put something inside of A. So A is now a box, and of course these are actually called variables. And what we could put inside of A is, for example, a string, like we did here, so a text. And if we want to do that, we just put quotation marks and then some text. Or we can even do some text. And now some text is in the variable A. And then if we wanted to, we could print the variable A. This would be the same as putting the text inside of print. So this box right here is storing the text, and then we're putting it inside of print right here. Let's name that P. We're building the binary file, and then we run it again. And now it prints some text because it was saved in here. You can name these boxes or variables whatever you like, and you can put pretty much anything you want into them as well. So let's just do another one called blue. And in this one, we're going to put, for example, the number 10. And now, if we were to print blue, it would print the number 10. So P, save, yes, replace. And now it prints number 10 to the terminal. As you can see, when I wanted to make a text, I would put quotation marks around the text, but when I use numbers, I don't need to put anything like that. And these numbers behave as normal numbers, which means that you can add them together. So if I, for example, made another variable called red, and inside of that variable I put the number 5, and then I took the variable blue and added the variable red to it, like this, this is the same as just adding 10 plus 5 and then making that into a variable. So let's make an example out of that as well. So we take the variable a, and we do 10 plus 5, and now this variable has 15, this variable has 10, and this variable has 5, and we can take these variables 10 and 5 right here and add them together as variables, because these are just representations of what is inside of the boxes. I hope that makes sense. So P, save, and now you can see it prints 15. If you were to instead print A, which has the addition done inside the box instead of by adding the boxes together, that will work the same and also give us the same result. P, again 15. So by using these boxes, we can put stuff into the terminal. Then we can also take stuff from inside the from the terminal and put that into the script. So now we've been looking at how you can take the stuff from inside the script and put that into the terminal, but we can also do the other way around. And this is when we are going to start working with lists. So if you type the command name and then you start to type stuff that you want to put into the script like this, all of the stuff that you type after launching, so P is the name of the script, and everything you put after P, which is the stuff that you launch P with, is going to be saved into a list. And a list looks like this. So let's do a variable called list, and instead of just having we can actually do this. Let's do text is a variable, and this is what text looks like, right? Then we have number. That's a number, and then we can make something inside of the variable called a list, and then you use brackets like this, and then you can store several different things inside of the list. So let's just make the example. We can have text, we can have number, and we can even have more lists, other stuff like that. Let's not make this too complicated for now. So more text and another number like this. And I've saved several items inside of a variable. So instead of having one item, I have several items. And you can see that we have brackets around, and then we have this comma that separates the different items. And this is exactly what happens when you put information inside of the script that you launch. This is going to be saved inside of a already made list, and this list is not called list, it's called params. Okay, so if we're just gonna let's just save this up here for now, and then we're going to start a new code editor, this, and we want to just to show how this works. We're going to print again, which was the method that you could use to print stuff to the terminal. We can print not just text and numbers, but also the entire list. And the way we do that is by just typing params, which is the already made list outside of the so when you run the script, this list is automatically created, and if we just print this list, it's going to show us, let's just do P again, it's going to show us what the list looks like. So let's run this. P ASD blue put, and now you can see that the list format that I previously showed is the same format that params uses. So now we were able to somehow get these 3 words into the script. They're right here. And how lists work is that you can select one of them. And you do that by telling the script which number you want. Do you want the first item, the second item, or the third item? And what we can do then is we can use brackets at the end of the variable, because again, all of these things, list, numbers, text, are variables, and we can put some brackets behind it, and then we can pick which one we like. Let's, for example, say that we want the first one in the miniscript scripting language. The first one is represented by a 0. The second one is represented by a 1. So instead of starting to count from 1, 2, 3, we start 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So if we do params 0 here, that means that we tell the script that we want the first item from the list. We save that. And then we run we start the script with the same arguments again. And now it gave us the first item, which is ASD, like so. This is of course looking for a list. So if we were to run just P without any input, it's going to crash because there is no item 0. There is no first item. We didn't put anything. So it's looking for something that doesn't exist. And we can also see what this looks like by just printing the list again. If we save this as P, then run P, you can see that it's just the brackets. It's an empty list, there's nothing inside it, and therefore we can't ask for the first, second, or third item. So these are 3 basics. We have the text, we have the number, we have the list. And once you start to, then when we start to code things, we want to use these building blocks to create logic functions. So if, else, and that way we can make the program do stuff for us. So let's just look at the if first. If it's going to check something, so let's just make a we already used the variable name a, so let's if a, then we put end if, and then we can put something inside of this. So I'm just showing you what the if looks like. It looks like this. And the end if shows the program where the if ends. So it starts with the if and ends with the end if. Then it has some kind of argument that it needs to check if it's supposed to run this piece of code or just skip it. So imagine that the script is running, or not just imagine, it does run like this. So scripts, they run from the start, the first line, then the second line, third line, fourth line, and so on. So they run from the top and down to the bottom. And then if it sees that, okay, I have the A, so then I go into this piece of code inside of the if function or method. And then if when it's done, it then continues down. If the A is not applicable, then it's going to just skip this if function and continue running whatever is below down here, or end if there's nothing else. So what you can do is I've already gone through text, number, and lists. We can also save something called Booleans, which is statements that are true or false. So we can do A is equal to true, or we can do A is equal to false. We can also represent the same thing in terms of the if command by typing A is equal to 1 or A is equal to 0. So A equals to true would mean the same to the if function as A is equal to 1, and A equal to false is the same as A equals to 0. So let's just do the true and false scenario. So if the if method is going to check is A true, or is A is kind of what it actually says. Then it's going to run this code in here. So we can check if it's running this code by just doing a print inside of this code. And then we can do running like this. And we save this. And then we run P. And now we can see that it says running. So it's printing this to the terminal. And that means, that means that the code was running from the start and to the bottom, and it saw that this was applicable and that it needed to run the stuff inside the if function. But let's say that it's not applicable. Let's say that it's false. Now if we run P, it goes here and checks, is A applicable? No, it's not. And it continues running, and it skips this part of the script. If there's something down here, for example, print down, we need to put quotation marks around text. So down here, and then we can P. And now it's just running the script, just printing the text down here, but it's skipping this up here. I'm going over this very, very detailed, or at least I think I am. So if you already have some knowledge, you probably already know this stuff. But for somebody who's having or struggling to get into the coding, I'm trying to be as clear as possible. Okay. Then we can do some more stuff with the if. So I mentioned else. And this works like this. So we can do if A is applicable, then it's going to do something. And then we can type else something. There's currently a bug in the coding. So if you type else, it's going to offset the error message. And to fix this problem, you can just add this semicolon at the end of the else, and that's going to fix the offset error message for you. So you can do if A is applicable, then it does something, but if it's not applicable, then it does something else. So here we can do print something else. So in this case, A is not applicable, so it's not going to go in here. Instead, the code is going to go in here. These are mutually exclusive, which means that if A is applicable, then it's always going to skip else. And if A is not applicable, then it's always going to run else. So this is where the logic comes in. Name this P. And you can see that it types something else, which means that A was not applicable, and therefore it went down in here. In addition to this, you can also do something else with the if, which is called else if. And else if is that if A is not applicable and something else is applicable, then it runs that thing. So let's do another variable here called B, and let's make B true. So then it says else if, so if A is not true but B is true, then it's going to run something here. So let's do print B is true. And if A or B is not applicable, then it's going to run something else. Let's just try this, and You can see there now that there are several different combinations that could occur, and depending on which combination it is, it's going to print different things. Let's do P. You can start to try to guess which is going to be printed now. So if we run P, it says that B is true, which is that A is not applicable, but B is applicable. Therefore, it runs this part. And it doesn't run this because this requires that both A and B is not applicable. Let's do that as well. Let's say that both A and B are false. No, not B. P. And now it runs this third one down here. So this is how you can play around with different things. Let's just quickly make a okay, I'm going to show one more thing before we do a real example. So I don't want to just delete these if we want to look at some of this or use that for explanatory purposes. So let's do the code editor. I'm also going to, okay, I can't minimize them anymore, sadly. Okay. I already showed that we were able to get code from by just typing code after the command. We could put code into the script. There is another way to get the code into the script from the terminal, and that is by using the user input function. Again, you put parentheses behind it, and it's also going to show you, like all the other methods, how you use it. You have a string, which again is a text, and which is the input message that's going to be printed to the terminal. And then you can also use it for passwords by either setting the optional second argument to 1 or 0. I'm going to show that as well. So let's just do the first one here. So you can make a string, and again, a string is a text. You put quotation marks and then a text like this. And then if you just run this is almost like the opposite of print. It is a print, but it's instead of just outputting text to the terminal, it's also going to input text, information into the script. Let's run P. And you can see it says a text, and then it didn't end the script. The script is still running, and now it's waiting for an input from us. So now if I type something, and then it ends. So what happened was that this text was put into the terminal, and then it was waiting for an input from us, and then this input was actually saved inside of this user input method. What we could do is we could try to grab this information by putting the information itself that is grabbed by this. Let's just put a colon and then a space, so it's more as you can see, there was no here, so it said text, and then we immediately started typing at the end of the previous word. You can just put a space here to separate them like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to save this information inside a variable, and the way you make a variable is you pick a word, and then you put equal to, and then it's going to take whatever is inside of here and put that into word. And then we can also use the print and print the whatever is in the variable word. So yeah, let's just do this for now. So we save this and type P, and now it prompting us for a text. Something again, and then after I type that, it saved something, the word something, into word, And then it went down here and it printed the word something. So you can see here, printed something. This is the other way that you can take information from the terminal and put it into your script. And make a simple example of the if statement. We're just going to make a very simple password input prompt in the code editor here. So we're going to do, instead of, let's do both username and password actually. Or no, wait. Okay, let's just do password. Password, and we can name the variable for that pass. And then we're not going to print pass, but let's just do this one more time to make it extra clear. So I just changed the text for the input as well as the variable names, and it's still going to work exactly the same. Just run the p script, and now it's asking for a password instead. Now if you type 1234, it's going to print 1234 because that was saved inside the pass variable. Okay. So let's say that the script now is asking for a password, and we want to check if the person who wrote the password has the correct password. Then this is where we are going to be using the if statement. We're going to check if pass, the string pass, is equal to, and then we can set a password as a string, as a text. And if that is true, then it's going to do something, right? So we can do end if to tell the script that this is the end of, start of the if and the end of the if. Then we can also make else in here, like this. So if the password is correct, whatever we choose to put as the password text, then it's going to do something. Otherwise, it's just going to exit. And we can also let's just, so exit is a function that quits the script right here. So the script is reading from the start to the end, and if it for some reason goes in and reads the word exit like this, it knows that the script is going to stop running. So we can kill the script wherever we want, like this. Okay, so let's do if the password is 1234. That means that it's the correct password. We can print that. So we can print correct password. And if it's not password, so else, then it's going to exit the script. Previously, when I showed the if functions, I showed if A is true or A is false. In this case, we are going to or what we are doing is we're checking if something is equal to. So if pass is equal to 1234, and equal to is not just one equal to sign, but two equal to signs. If you use one equal to sign, that tells the script that it wants to make a variable like this. So we use one equal to sign, and if you use two of them, that tells the script that we want to compare one thing with another thing. So we're comparing password or the pass box, whatever is in the pass box, with the string or text 1234, and if that's correct, then it's going to print the correct password. Okay, hopefully that is clear enough. So now if we type P and we type 1234 into the password prompt, it tells us correct password. If we run it again and we type A, B, C, D, it just exits the script like we told the script to do right here. In the exit, you can also you can also add a text that you want to be printed when the print is ending. So this works exactly like a print, but the print is also exiting the script. We can add parentheses like this, and then we make a string, and then we can just type something like bad password. Let's do wrong password. Okay, wrong password. And again, if we run this, now we give it the ABCD password, it's telling us wrong password, and then it's exiting. So yeah, then I told you that I would show the user input second argument. So some of these methods can take more arguments than just one argument. So this is one argument, the string that we want to print to the terminal. And if they take more, then you need to separate that just like you separated the lists with a comma. You type a comma, and then we can either pick if we want the password to be on or off. And for this, we're going to be using numbers. So if we want the if it is a password, then we're going to put 1, and if it's not a password, then we're going to put 0. Since this is a password, we want the password to be hidden, and therefore we can put a 1 as a second argument in user input. So again, if we save this, and now it gives us the password prompt, but now when I type the passwords, you can see that we can't actually see the password, and that's because it's now hidden by the password option. Again, I put the wrong password, and therefore it says wrong password. Of course, inside of the correct password, you can do something else than just print the incorrect password. You could show secret information or allow access to a tool you made or whatever. But this is just a simple use case for the if-else logic. Okay, I think this is a good start. If you guys want to see more of these very basic scripting guides, let me know in the comments. I could potentially see myself doing some more of these where I show off loops and stuff like that, but this is the very, very basics. Maybe I've missed some basic stuff here. It's very possible, but at least you have some tools now that you can use to start making your first scripts in the game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.